This car is really cool. It's really small. It's kind of weird. I've seen these a lot on the road, and you guys have seen them a lot on the road as well. But neither of us has probably seen one on a lift and really got deep into one of these. Let's take a look at this really weird looking car. So this is a 2013 Smart FourTwo Passion. That's the trim level that it has, a Passion. I've seen these on the road, like I said, and they look really small, but when you actually get it in the shop and look at it, man, this thing is really tiny. It's really odd. We're going to take a look around it, take a look inside of it, talk about why it's here. First of all, let's play Where's the Engine game. It's just a piece of plastic, Mrs. Wizard. It doesn't come off, or doesn't... I guess we can take a peek in here. I see radiator, reservoir, the windshield washer reservoir, HVAC box, and a brake master cylinder. There's no engine in there though. Well, let's keep searching. Well, let's go pop the trunk. Let's see what we got in here. There it is. Little tiny engine sitting in the back. You would say it's under the back seat, but there is no back seat. This is a really, really small engine. It is a 1 liter, 3-cylinder. As you can see, it's a 2013 1.0, which is the 1 liter. Here's the little bitty dipstick. Here's the little bitty alternator. 1 little belt. It's got 3 intake runners and 70 horsepower. That's all this little guy has. But I don't think that's too bad for such a small car. 70 horsepower is pretty decent. So it's a little dirty. It's been on the road. The customer's been driving it around, so you can see it's a little dirty, but we'll take a look around it, which won't take very long, probably about 6 steps, and we'll be around the whole thing. There's the front. It looks like a bug. You think it looks like a bug, Mrs. Wizard?
It's definitely a cute little thing.
I'd be concerned about getting into a wreck if it were to smash and could hurt you. I don't know. Maybe they're pretty safe. I don't know much about them, but I know these are made by Mercedes-Benz, and there's an interesting story about that here when we get to the why it's here question.
I know that her daughter said she wouldn't drive it because she's seen this on the internet where semis have hit these and they've gone flying like little hockey pucks.
Yeah, that's not good. It has 3 lug nuts. 1, 2, 3. It's the only car I've ever seen where it has 3. I've seen 4, which I thought was kind of cool, but 3 is kind of weird. It has little ventilation holes here, and at first I thought maybe there's a missing piece there or there's holes there, but they're supposed to be there. There's ventilation for the engine, fresh air. Kind of chintzy, but I guess it's what it is. It's a small little cheap car, economy car. Maybe I could race around it real quick, Mrs. Wizard, and you can count how many seconds.
Sure.
Ready?
Go. 1 Mississippi. 3 Mississippi. 4 Mississippi. Oh, that is
4 seconds.
A 4-second left. That's pretty good for you, Wizard.
Yeah. What a tiny, tiny little car. It's a clean little car. Like I said, it's been used. It's been on the highway, and the lady uses it for work, so it's a little bit dirty inside, but it's to be expected. It's a work car. I think if you got 5 people here, you could all hold hands and reach around the whole car. What do you think, Mrs. Wizard?
Probably.
I don't think I want to try it, though. Let's take a look at the interior, and then we'll start talking about why it's here, and then we'll get it on the lift and take a look. It's got some really strange doors. They're really long for such a small car. It's almost the whole length of the car. There's the dash. Feel the dash, Mrs. Wizard. It's like cloth.
Oh, it is.
Really strange. It's in pretty good shape. There's the glove box. This is cloth as well. It's got a bunch of little buttons and heated seats and tiny little shifter down there. Above you, there's a really big panoramic sunroof. This is kind of cool. And then if you look to the back, There's the back window, literally right there. There's your back window. Kind of weird. This whole car is kind of weird. It's not a bad car. It's not something wrong with it. It's just, it would take a lot of getting used to. In America, we're not used to turning around and look and see there's the back window right there in your face. It's kind of strange. When you look out ahead of you, you don't even see the hood. It's just a drop off. But all in all, it's in pretty good shape. Let's go ahead and talk about why it's here. So it came in here, the customer says while she's been driving it, she hears like a whirring sound or something similar to a hairdryer going like different weird noises and things. And we got it in, Magic Mike hooked it up and got the scan tool hooked up, and we found some transmission codes. There were no engine codes, there was no other codes, but in the engine it had transmission RPM sensor L2 component failure. So we checked it out, and that sensor has actually failed. It's actually not hard to get to, it's right on the bottom. But when that goes bad, that causes these noises. The transmission in here is an automatic, but it's an automated manual. It's not an automatic like you would think with a torque converter and red transmission fluid, and it's not like that. It's still a stick shift. It would be very similar to an E-gear on a Lamborghini or an F1 transmission on a Ferrari. It's an automated manual. That's all it is. It has electronics and basically robotics to operate the clutch for you. It also shifts the gears for you. So when you put this thing into drive, you feel like it's an automatic, but it doesn't go anywhere until you start hitting the gas, and then it engages the clutch, and then you go. One thing that was really weird when I first got into this car is if you put your foot on the brake and go to start it like you would most cars, it will not start. It will do nothing. In this particular car, you don't dare touch the brake. You just sit down and you turn the key and start it, and it starts right up. They don't want you pushing the brake. It's really weird. But like I said, it's an automated manual, so the noise that she was hearing was the clutch servo trying to engage. It's trying to figure out what's going on. It's not happy with the sensor reading it's getting, and so it's making all these weird noises, which is the common noise you hear when this fault happens. So,
Now, Car Wizard, are you having any trouble getting this apart? Because we don't sell smart cars in America anymore.
right, that was an issue I ran into. I used WorldPack, FCP Euro, different companies to get parts for these European cars. And for that sensor, and actually many other parts on this car, there are none. I said, okay, I'll call a smart car dealership. There are none. They don't sell these cars in America anymore. You're not going to call a smart car dealer. It doesn't exist. Since this being a Mercedes-Benz vehicle, we contacted the Wichita Mercedes-Benz dealer, and they said, no, we're not going to be able to help you. We don't deal with that. But if you called a Tulsa, the Mercedes-Benz dealer there might be able to get you the hookup to get the smart car parts overseas and then over to you at your shop. And that's what we had to do. We called Mercedes-Benz of Tulsa. They were able to get the part, and it's going to take them several days to get it, and then it's going to take several days for us to get it, probably 2 or 3 days. So that's kind of inconvenient. If you own one of these cars, you're not going to go to AutoZone and get parts for it. In fact, most shops will have difficulty getting parts for it. It's just kind of a sad scenario there. We did find the part. We're still waiting on it. You can drive this car. It drives okay, but you don't want to go on the highway with it. But that's where we're at with this thing.
It seems odd that they put that kind of a transmission in there. Wizard, why didn't they put a CVT in it, like a lot of other small cars?
I think it's just such a small engine that it doesn't have a whole lot of power. You don't want to waste what little power you have going through fluids and belts and things. It's easiest just to use a manual. I think you can get these in a manual or the automated manual. It makes sense to do it that way. So let's go ahead and get this thing on the lift. It's quite comical to put this thing on the lift, so I'll let you guys enjoy the comedy. Definitely not a very heavy car to push. I could just push it with one hand easily. Let's see if we can get this thing lifted up in the air. This is a short little car. Well, we don't need to look for the engine right here because it's not here, it's in the back. Well, we can see right off that piece of this undershielding has been broken off and missing. This shouldn't be open. But while it's there, we'll take a look at the radiator and the condenser. Very, very small little units there. And there's the steering rack. Nothing leaking from any of those. We'll take a look at the brakes. Looks good, nothing loose. Sway bar link is good. Nothing loose there. Sway bar link is good there. Brakes are good. It's almost like a spare tire. Tiny.
It's about the size of a donut.
Yep. And 2 steps to the back and we're at the engine. There's nothing but a bunch of shielding there. So here's our oil pan for the engine. It's kind of a weird slanted oil pan. And here's our transmission. Here's the clutch actuator. And this is the thing making all those weird noises, pushing the clutch in and out. And our sensor that has gone bad is right here. 2 green wires right there. There's our little transmission RPM L2 sensor. It is bad. It measures, the ohms are bad on it. So we got one of those ordered, and that'll take care of all the weird noises and the weird shifting. As we can see, look at this little oil filter, Mrs. Wizard. It's like the size of a plum.
Wow.
Ah, little baby. Tiny little thing. Look at this long CV shaft. It goes all the way over to there. It's got little bitty drum brakes in the back. Nothing loose there. Nothing loose there. Look at this coil springs. It's like little baby springs. What a strange little car. Here's our muffler. Tiny little downspout. There's our serpentine belts. There's 2 of them, little bitty belts. They look good. Very strange arrangement. Otherwise, I don't see any leaks or any other issues going on as soon as we get our sensor replaced, and this car will be back on the road and a happy camper again. So thanks for following along on the little smart car. It's not here for any major surgery or any huge job. It's just a quick little sensor and then be back on the road. But I definitely want to do a video for you guys to check this thing out, to see the underneath, how this thing is set up. It's a really strange car, but it's a good car. I imagine in a large city, this would be wonderful to zip around town and get good fuel mileage. And I don't know if I would own one. Would you own one, Mrs. Wizard?
I like there to be a little more area between the front of the car and me. I mean,
yeah, it is. There's not much room in case you get into an accident, but for what it is, it's a good little car, and I'm glad you guys could check it out with us today. If you're curious what kind of tools we use in the shop, check the Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut, and we really appreciate that. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button already, I really recommend you do that now. We got many more cool projects in the wing. You just seen the one on the Malibu. The engine's on its way, guys. Thanks for watching.